Test on one day. India, England, Australia. What a player! What a player! What a player!
Hello and welcome back to Waadaplaya Concussion Sub-Series plus Fantasy Tips for the West Indies versus South Africa Test match that is going to be happening on the same day, starting on the same day as the World Test Championship final, to discuss how the first Test match went, previewing the second Test match, and also talking about the fantasy picks for the next Test match. We have Akash and Vishak, our regular resident experts with us. Lots of cricket coming up, so exciting times. Talking about the first Test match, it was a very one-sided game. West Indies getting beaten by an innings by South Africa. Quinton de Kock scoring 140 odd in 320 score for South Africa, and South Africa winning by an innings. What a great performance by them, Akash.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had predicted this before the match as well, that it's going to be seamers who are going to rule the roost in this particular match. And the same thing happened. South Africa ran through West Indies in both the innings. Ngidi in the first innings, not Cape in both, and then Rabada coming good in the second innings. And from even from West Indies perspective, the seamers did well. Holder did a good job. Roach and Sauls did a good job as well. So it was just Quinton de Kock's innings, according to me, which took the game away completely from West Indies' hand. Otherwise, the seamers on both the sides were pretty good. But you must admit that the quality of South Africa's pace attack was much higher than what West Indies had put in display. Rabada, Notke, and Ngidi were at the batsman throughout the time, and I think that's what they were perhaps ruffled up a bit at the beginning of the innings itself. They couldn't understand which ball to leave and which ball to play at. The ball was moving both ways, and when you have three quality seamers in there, it becomes pretty difficult. So once you have been bundled out for 90 or 97, I'm guessing, once you're bundled out for 97 in the first innings, it's very difficult to come back from that situation and then win the Test match. So, and then Quinton de Kock took advantage of that situation, that West Indies were under the pressure and there were gaps in the field. He attacked the bowlers, brought them under the pressure, and then that was typical of de Kock, especially with no captaincy pressure on his head. So it was a free-flowing de Kock out there. Thorough performance by South Africa. Don't expect anything less from them in the next match as well.
Vishak, from the highs of that Bangladesh series win for West Indies, things have come crashing down back to reality for West Indies. But this is a bitter pill to swallow because generally they do relatively well at home, I think.
Yes. After that Bangladesh series and how they performed in Sri Lanka with the drawn series, I thought they would do well in this series, and I had actually predicted a West Indies win, and I literally have egg on my face right now. So after the performance what they've given, so yeah, I'm pretty surprised with how they performed. I think after being routed for 97 in the first innings, like Akash said, then it's very difficult to come back. And if you look at Quinton de Kock's innings, and mainly the 9th wicket partnership, he was literally dominating. And he scored most of the runs in that partnership. It was around 80-90 run partnership, I think, and he scored most of the runs. That's where he just dominated the bowling and took the West Indies bowling, and they just took the game away from the West Indies in that single partnership. And after that, I think if you have a batting collapse 2 times in the same Test match, I think second innings they batted a little better than the first innings, though that was not enough. But you after giving a big lead of around 200 odd, you need to bat well. You need to score at least 400 to make to have a chance in the 4th innings to bowl the other team out. If you can't do that, then it's very difficult.
Clinical performance by South Africa. Looking ahead to the second game, Akash, this is again played at St. Lucia, Darren Sammy Stadium. So same venue, same things to expect from the next Test, or do you see any turnaround from the West Indies team?
Well, we at least expect a fight back from West Indies. It's their home conditions, they would know it better. But looking at the quality of the South African attack at the moment, it looks pretty difficult. Only if their bowlers can do some magic and perhaps bundle out South Africa within 200 in at least the first innings, only then I see a possibility. But they have to believe in their youngsters, West Indies. They dropped Bonner and they played Karim Powell as a replacement for Shai Hope in the second innings. And Shai Hope himself is woefully out of form. He was brought in, I'm not sure on the basis of what, perhaps a good domestic season maybe, not quite sure. But he didn't look comfortable either. So now, not sure if his concussion injury is fine now. Is he going to be back? I'm not sure. But I think Bonner did well in Sri Lanka, and he against Bangladesh, and he did pretty decently against Sri Lanka as well. So I think it's time.
Just a correction there, Akash. I think Rikuma Bonner was concussed, and that's why Kyron Powell was brought in. Shai Hope was in the 11.
Okay, my bad. So I think Bonner will come back again, and Bonner is a good batsman, so it's better for him to continue and not mess around much with Kyron Powell and other stuff. But I do expect a fight back from West Indies. Hopefully we have a drawn series, but looking at South Africa's strength, I think they will wrap up the series 2-0.
Vishak, looking at the captaincy, because we discussed in the preview as well how Holder is not retained his captaincy with opting out of the Bangladesh series and whatnot. Brathwaite's been put in. He would be under a lot of pressure because he's inexperienced as a captain.
Definitely, he would be under pressure after the magnitude of the loss. But I think they should give him enough time because he is still a young captain. And he has just played 3 series. This is his 3rd series as a captain. So you need to give a captain time. And he needs to get used to the team. And once you give a captain a longer rope, he can build the team. He can understand his team better and deliver performances. You cannot jump the gun so quickly. So you need to give the captain and the team. Anybody, you need to trust in them. If you are giving them somebody a job, you need to trust in them and make sure that they deliver the results. Definitely, he would be under pressure, but I expect him to come good. He has been one of the top batsmen as well in the last few years. So if they have the trust in him and they've given him the captaincy, they should continue with him.
And Lungi and Giri bowled really well, picking up 5 wickets. Akash, although the defining innings of the match was from De Kock, that's why he got the man of the match. But more or less, a lot of seam bowling option for South Africa. And Giri coming good this time. I'm sure someone else will put up their hands in the next test if required.
Yeah, absolutely. They have their bowling stocks completely filled. You also have Jeroen Hendricks. Mulder is a good seaming all-rounder as well. But how do you get past these 3 men is the biggest question for West Indies. Surprise to me was Ngidi, the way he bowled. He bowled much better than Rabada in the first innings, if I'm to state him the way he bowled. Rabada seemed to be off color as he has been in the past few matches in there. But I think Ngidi bowled pretty well. Rabada did come back well in the second innings, but I'm really surprised the way Ngidi has bowled. He's bowled really well at the batsman all the time, moving the ball around, getting the short balls in the right places. I think Ngidi is the one to look out for in the next match as well, along with Notke. Notke has been brilliant in the past few series. He will be anyways at the batsman. But between Ngidi and Rabada, I think Rabada has been off color recently, but Ngidi is the one to watch out for.
But I think Rabada actually bowled without much luck in the first innings. Definitely Ngidi bowled better, but he bowled without much luck. And as the innings progressed, or as the match progressed, he got better and better. So even the second innings, I think he bowled better than the first innings. So he's getting better now. So I think he's off his rustiness and he would be ready to go in the second test.
Talking of the bowling stocks and the options South Africa has, let's look at our fantasy selection for the test match. This will be quite an interesting pick.
Let's look at the lineup here. We've again chosen De Kock as the wicketkeeper. There is no way we would have left him off. Joshua De Silva, though he's a good enough wicketkeeper batsman, the amount of runs which De Kock can give, I don't think Joshua De Silva will be able to provide. So De Kock will be the keeper. We have filled our team with all 3 South African batsmen because we expect South African bowlers to run hammock on the West Indian top order. So we will have Dean Elgar. He is a very good batsman. Just because he scored a duck in the first match, don't write him off. He's a very good batsman. Followed by Keegan Peterson, who had a okay kind of a debut, but he's been spoken about a lot and he has a good performance coming up as well. And followed by Van der Dusen. Van der Dusen has been good across the format for South Africa. We expect him to come good as well this match too. That's your batting and wicketkeeper.
Coming to the all-rounders, Actually, we have not picked any batsman or wicketkeeper from the West Indies side. That's mainly because of the strong bowling attack that South Africa possesses. And we have gone in with middle order batsman Kyle Mayers. He did not have a good first match, but he looks in good touch. He has batted well in the previous two series, whatever he has played. So expect him to come good. And Jason Holder, he is the number one all-rounder. Definitely, you can expect him to bat at least twice. Not sure about bowling twice, but he'll definitely bat twice. So we are going with him as the captain. And we have packed our side with paces. And one exception there is Rakim Cornwall. We feel that he could be the X factor in the West Indies bowling lineup. That's why we have gone with Rakim Cornwall. And Kemar Roach, he has always been the go-to man for West Indies, along with Shannon Gabriel. But Shannon Gabriel is not playing this series, so he will have to take the load on himself and deliver. So expect him to come good. Kagiso Rabada, as we already mentioned, he has been coming. He is getting better as with more number of bowlers, balls he's bowling, and we are making him the vice captain. Lungi and Gidi and Andrik Nortje. They both bowled well in the previous test match, and the South Africa pace attack looks scary. And we are going with Jason Holder as the captain, as we mentioned.
That is great. With the weather hanging around over the World Test Championship final, we hope that the weather doesn't play any spoil sport in St. Lucia and we are able to see a good test match, because all the test matches recently have been pretty one-sided. So I'm really hoping that the coming few days we have some really interesting test cricket. Before we leave you, just a disclaimer that the game involves element of financial risk and may be addictive. So if you are under 18, you cannot or should not play it. And if you are playing, please be responsible, and it is your own risk if you lose any money. This game involves an element of financial risk and may be addictive. Please play responsibility. The tips provided by us are only for entertainment purposes. Waadaplaya or its member cannot be held responsible for any losses you may incur. As we always say, please play safely, enjoy the game, and hope you win lots of money. Thank you so much, Vishak and Akash, for your time. We will bring you more fantasy tips for upcoming matches. So we hope to see you another day, another time. Thank you so much for watching.